Well, hey guys, welcome to my channel, welcome to my stream, and welcome to another chapter working on this guy here. That is our Cylon Raider by Revell from Battlestar Galactica, an old series from the late 70s. Had a remake, I think it was either in the late 90s or early 2000s, but this is more the original one from the 70s. Run the intro and we'll get into it. Okay, so we're going to continue on with this, guys. We got this guy here. We've got about, I want to say, 80% of it assembled. It's just about finished as far as assembly goes. And then there's going to be a bunch of painting. I'm going to do all the priming and everything after it's all done. So we're going to continue on with this guy. I'll move my coffee out of the way here. And grab our instruction booklet and change the camera, and let's get started. If it goes, there we go. Yeah. Okay. So last time we got a whole bunch of stuff done. We got these things put in, and we got all these bits except for these two. We haven't put those on yet, but we got all the rest of this all done. Step 3, putting the tops of the rear of the engines on, the thruster fairings and the equipment bridge. And then step 4, we put the two hulls together. And then I had to clamp them all down and let it all glue and get that settled. Okay, that's all done. So we're going to continue on with this part, which is putting on the navigation panel. Okay, that's our next step. So after getting it all done, I got all the sides. I'm going to have to do a little bit of sanding along here to get that all to fit nice and not have this big weird step. There's a big step you can see there. Big step along there. It looks a little strange. I don't know. It seems like this. It should be nice in one piece like this and not have a big step sticking out like that. It just, I don't know. It doesn't look right anyway. Anyway, let's find our little front piece here. That would be this guy here. Let me change my glasses here. Okay, where's my nippers? Nippers. Let's get this off of the sprue. Okay, and get the sprue taken care of here. Throw that away. Garbage. There we go. Okay, so this guy, clean up our nubs. Navigation panel, eh? More like the mouth. This guy goes here on the front. It doesn't look like he sort of slots in. Not the best fit in the world, but hey, it'll do. It'll do, donkey. It actually fits pretty good there. I'll probably have to hold it for a minute. Let's get some glue on there. Actually, the fit along here on the sides is pretty good. No gaps, really. None that are super crazy anyway. Getting behind them. And then I'll run a little glue along the top edge here too. Just along there. Okay. Hold him for a sec because he does want to kind of pop out a little bit just from the pressure. So I will hold him like this for a sec while I look at step 5. Step 5 is the engine assembly. So they show the completed engine here. We've got our emission port. So I guess they got some emissions that they have to port out the middle. It's actually kind of funny because I believe in productions they used this as a rod. They'd shove a rod into the back there, I believe, for filming. They'd put a rod down in the center of that. I think I remember somebody mentioning that on some video somewhere that's what they did with that, and that's why that's like that. This, however, is for the stand, of course. I don't know if this was part of the actual production or if Revell did that for the stand. You can totally tell that they had the little toy missiles that you could get. I don't know if you could actually buy them for this kit or if it's just part of the molding because of for the toy. Where the missiles would stick in here and have the little buttons to release them from underneath, so you could go bing and then they fire out. And then of course that kid down in the US fired one down his throat and choked to death, and that changed the toy world for a very, very long time. Okay, I think I've held that long enough. There we go, that piece is in. He's in his home, and he seems to be happy. Seems to be happy in his home. What I actually want to do, I want to get some putty and just fill in here and here. Before I do any kind of sanding or anything like that, I'm going to fill this in. Just to kind of take up that harsh edge. Do it on this side too. Okay. Just because I don't want that step there. Take this and I'll just kind of wipe it away a little bit like that. Just because I don't want that step there. I don't like that step. It's bugging me. And so when I do sand it, I want it to be, I don't want to have a gap, and that's what I put the putty there for. The putty's not going to be structurally any reason why it's there, it's just because. It's just because, okay? It's just the way it is. I want it that way, and so I'm doing it that way. I've got quite the little hole in here, right there, and I see this, you know, a little minor bit of flashing right here. Just, it's little edges like that this kit has, little tiny little things like this that you don't really notice until you're actually looking at it and then getting putty on parts of it that don't belong. It's little things like that that I want to clean up. See, I don't have a huge gap on this side, but I do here. Like I can shove my knife down in there, right? See that gap there? Now that's kind of, you know, typical for this era of Revell. Even, you know, with a remake like this, they still didn't really bother fixing the problems. They didn't retool it or anything like that. They just you know, started making the molds again. Start basically bring those molds out of the closet and let's start making this kit again, kind of thing. There we go. On this side, I think as soon as I touch it, it's going to want to create a hole, but we'll see. I think we might get away with it. I think we're okay. Alright. Got that hole filled in. I'm not really going to notice it on this. I don't think I'll really notice it much in here where the gap is. And that little gap in there, we're okay. That's not going to be noticeable. Once we've got this painted and everything, that'll be a minor little thing. Alright? Okay, so let's take a look at our engines. So, a few pieces to go through. Vertical vane, horizontal vane, the exhaust nozzle, and the diffuser, which is clear. Let's find these. 90% of it all on one sprue, and then we have our clear. So, let's get these out of the bag. One's already trying to come off the sprue, so let's just get this guy off of here. Okay, bing. Bing. Alright, so there's no left or right. These are both number 32s, although, yeah, 32s, 33s, and 34s. It looks straightforward. You two go together. You two go together. 1, 2, and I might as well get my emissions port off of here too. All right. Let's see about cleaning these up. Doesn't look like there's much left to the actual assembly of this kit. You know, had I built this kit as a 10-year-old kid, I guess this kit technically came out when I was like 6, something like that. Had I built this back in the early 80s, I probably wouldn't have painted it. I probably would have painted the guns, and that's all I would have painted. Oh, I would have done the canopy. I probably would have done the canopy black, like it's supposed to be. I probably would have done a kind of a terrible job, but I wouldn't have cared too much as a kid. And that's how I would have left it. And I would have been happy with it. But that's not the case these days. You know, today it's modeling is all about post shading, pre-shading, weathering, panel lining, all that jazz. You can't just build a kit anymore. You have to do all that stuff. Now this particular piece, these clear ones, they allow you to put LEDs in if you were so inclined. You can put LEDs and put them in here. and then you get your engines looking cool. Okay, so we got these, and we got these, and they're supposed to go, looks like this. In that kind of fashion. Bingo. And then they go inside here. Let's see how this lines up. It goes this direction. It looks like this little notch here is going to be for one of these. Maybe. It doesn't seem to have any real oh, I see how it lines up. Okay, so we got this goes on like that. It does have the word top engraved into it here. You see that there? Where are we here on the camera? It says top right in there. There we go. Now the camera's trying to decide if it wants to focus, but yeah. It goes like that. And it just sits on the outside like that. There is a little notch here to line up with that. So that goes like this. Let's glue that on there now that I have it the right way around. Let's get that glued on. Okay, so that's how that goes. Let's do that for the other one too. So this notch then goes on the bottom. It's the bottom of your engine. Alrighty. Okay. Those are done. Now this is together like this. We can glue these in. Glue these together. Make these one. And we'll do that for the other ones also. Just like that. Okay. And while we're waiting for that to dry a little bit, let's clean up our emissions port. This one also has top engraved on it for you right there. See? Top. Yep. And he's gonna go like this. Goes like that. And sits on there. And you can have them oriented however you want, but we're supposed to have it straight up and down like that, right? Now, what I want to do is clean this area up, because it kind of looks like crap, especially where he mounts. Where's my file? There it is. I want that to at least have a flat edge for him to sit on. That would be the minimum, because I got a lip, right? So at the very least, I should try and have a flat, level edge for him. At least a little bit. Even if I have a little bit of a gap, that's, you know, I want to try and nice place for him to sit. That looks better. Yeah. Now with my filing, I've gone and given myself a little bit of a lip there, so let's just send that down a little bit. All right, so let's put some glue on him. Let's hold him there for a sec. Glue, line him up straight up and down as best as I can. Some glue on this side. There we go. There's our emissions port. That's done. Okay, back to our engines, or at least our engine nozzles. So at the top, we've got ejector pin marks on these, so I want to have it, I can't avoid them really, but I'm going to have the ones facing the bottom. I'm going to have them facing down as best as I can. So I'll put this in here, line it up with that slot right there, and just push back as far as it'll go with it lined up. It won't go any further than that. So I'm going to call that one done. We'll try and have it lined up. That is the tricky part of this, is having it actually 90 degrees and perpendicular. There we go. So, glue, glue, and I don't know how much it's actually touching on the back here, but there we go. Just like that. There's one engine. This is the top, and ejector pins facing down. There we go. Oops. Went a little too far. There we go. That's pretty much straight up and down. And perpendicular. Close. There we go. I think that's about as good as I can get it. Looks like a nice plus in there, right? Alright. And glue on there, and we're done. Okay, there's our engines assembled. Now we're going to see how they fit. Now these edges they do line up pretty good. Even if I got a little bit of a parting line right here, I'll clean this up right there first, just so that's not so prominent. And I'll do this side too. And that's kind of something to be expected with a kit this old. I'm not going to complain about the fitment on this. Something that this is so old on this kit, you know. So what? It was the late 70s, and Revell just wanted to pump out stuff for kids. So I'm not going to fault them on a little bit slight fitment issues on a kit like this. It was a different time, a different era. That looks pretty good. Let's do this side too. The file is a little bit harsh. If to leave the surface looking like it's freshly filed, it digs into the plastic pretty harsh. It's not really forgiving. So I will sand this down a little bit with a little bit of a sanding stick, because that's all scratchy now and it doesn't look very nice. So let's my 1000 is pretty, that's a little harsh. Let's just grab this. Let's just get in there a little bit. Soften this up a little. Once I primer that'll look fine. Just soften up the scratches from that file so it doesn't look too bad. There. Now that kind of looks like it's going to be one piece. You can see the difference here. Right in this edge, it kind of goes dunk, and then I get a lip right there. But maybe the engine will hide that. We'll see. We want the top on the top. This is going to go like this. The engine's not hiding anything as it kind of fits into it like this. It kind of sits like that. Kind of like that? How about exactly like that? And it wants to pop out because it's kind of a pressed fit in there. Let's glue this down. The good news is there's no gaps. At least as long as I hold it down, there's no gaps. Not exactly lined up, is it? It's not straight. It's kind of crooked the way it sits in there. Just going to press and hold it for a minute because it kind of wants to just go. It's almost like it's tapered or something, and well, I guess it is technically. It is tapered and wants to kind of push its way out, kind of thing. Okay, it looks like it's holding, so we're going to call that side done. So we'll switch to this side, keep an eye on him to see if he does want to pop out. So again, top facing top. So yeah, this one just kind of pops down in there. You can see I push down and then it pops up. See? It wants to pop out of there. Just a little bit, but that's okay. That's what glue's for. Glue prevents that from happening. Is glue a popping preventative? I I suppose in this case, it prevents the piece from popping. A piece popping preventative. So let's hold that for a sec. La di da di da di da. Do 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 do. Yeah. As we wait and wait and wait. I am happy there's no gaps. I don't have to put any putty around there to fill up any gaps, so that's good. With these two pieces now installed, I believe that is the finish of the engine. That is it. The kit is done. The actual assembly of our Cylon Raider is finished. There we go. Okay. There's our engines. Finished. So, the assembly of the actual kit now is complete. What do I want to do about these? Our big holes. I really don't know. I think because I can actually see right through. You can see right through the kit. If I get the angle. There we go. You can see right through. See right through the back. Because of the clear piece back there. You can see right through the engine. Of course, when I paint this all, the engine, that clear is not going to be clear. So I'm not really worried about the clear being like that. That's not remaining clear. But that is our kit. That's our Cylon Raider, guys. That's it. We're not quite finished though, because we have to put the base assembly together. Okay. So we'll put the base in together, and then I've got to run off. Now, this is a short video as far as my videos go. This is a short one. But, of course, these old kits with their, they don't have 100 pieces to assemble, so it goes pretty quick. And I think that was their intention. A simple kit to put together that, for kids to put together and say, hey, I've got a Cylon Raider, I've got my Colonial Viper, and then they could play with them because they're not 100 pieces put together and could withstand a little bit of child's play with them without breaking apart. Especially with it being molded, the whole thing is pretty much one piece. Let's get our plaque off of there. Not plaque like your teeth. Get that piece. And look at that. That looks like a certain kind of modern day toy of its own. I'm not going to say what kind of toy, but a plug of some sort, I would say. It looks reminiscent of a certain type of plug. A plug for a certain type of orifice that many people use today. Anyway, this I want to have smooth. I should be using my razor file for these and not my regular metal file. But as long as I don't press too hard, I won't scratch too deep into it. The edge on this is rounded, so I'll try and maintain the contour. Okay, that's that. And then we have this guy. Our base here, or stand, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to paint this thing black. I'll probably just paint it with a primer, a black primer, and then call that good enough. Okay, so how does this go together? This guy goes in here. Looks like just like that. And lined up. Glue him in. Then we have this piece. Looks like it goes like this. Just like that. Okay. Alrighty. And then this guy, oh, we got two holes there. Goes under these pegs. It looks like they're extremely centered, so I don't think it matters which side goes which. It's a tight fit on there, so I'm going to put some glue on them first. There we go. And there's our stand. And then we're not going to glue the Cylon Raider to this. In fact, I don't really want to. It's obviously a press fit into here, so I'm not sure how much. Feels like there's going to be quite a bit of force, so I want to let that glue cure before I actually put that in there, because that's a press fit. But that's, you get the idea, right? It's going to sit like this, like that on there, right? You get the idea. Anyway, that is it. That concludes our assembly. There we go. Okay. So that is the assembly of our Cylon Raider and the base, his little stand that he comes with, which is nice because, you know, like a kit like this, you know, to not have a stand, then this thing's just going to sit like this on your shelf, and that looks dumb, right? Sitting there on a shelf, that's ridiculous. You want it looks so much cooler like that. Yeah, so this is what's going to happen. Off camera, I'm going to primer this thing. Okay, primer the thing off camera, and we'll come back after the primer's all dry, and we'll get into doing some weathering on this thing, right? And doing some detail stuff like that, and we'll do all that on camera. But I just really wanted to show you guys the assembly of this kit and how simple it is, really. If you can find this on eBay, if you're a big Battlestar Galactica fan, which I imagine if you're watching this video, then you are a Battlestar Galactica fan. Otherwise, you'd be like, what the heck is that? And then just click on something else, right? But that's it. Yeah, thanks a lot, guys. That is it. So obviously I got, no, it's not it. I got two pieces that I want to put on. And that is these little strengthening pieces. These two that go on the inside channels in here. Let's change the camera back. These guys, they go in right here. Remember, I didn't put these on yet. So, let's get to that. Now I've got nubs to clean up on the bottom here. These got to go on, and it looks like I've got some ejector pin marks that are going to interfere, or they're going to try and interfere. So let's clean those. Get this taken care of. Okay, now as for the actual edges that they go on, this doesn't really look very flat of an edge. So we're starting that big separation lip right there. So I want to get this flattened a little bit. Flatten that down. More of a flat edge. They do actually have these kind of, they're kind of concave. They are, the shape of them on the inside here is a little bit, you know, it's concave. It's like this, you know, doink, like that. Okay, that's the shape. So that kind of helps, the fact that this is not really flat. So put that on there, or drop it. Put this on here. It's not bad of a fit. It's okay. Let's put a little glue on there. This is not the best fit, but it's not the worst either. I've definitely dealt with things that fit worse than this, but I do want it flat against there as best as I can. There we go. There's one side in. One side's in, just like that. Okay. Let's clean up this side now. Okay, let's do a little test fit. I think that one's going to be okay, just like that. So, put some glue on them. Tucked in there. In a spot. This one is not fitting as nicely as the other one, as it wants to kind of lift off a little bit. But we will convince it to stay. Tell him all how wonderful his new home is going to be, so that he wants to stay in his new home. Sometimes if you just realize how nice your new home is, it helps you to want to stay there. And there we go. I'm going to put a little bit of glue up front here. Yeah, so as I got the front done, the rear wants to come back out and not line up, so I'll just push that back there. I'll just hold that for a sec. There we go. And that's it. So those are the two pieces I almost forgot to install, but they are installed now. We've got our little strengthening rails in there on each side, and now the kit's done. That's it as far as assembly goes. Now that this has had a few minutes, so now with that on there, let's give this a shove in there. There we go. And let's see. Bingo, we've got our kit done. And so it's kind of cool that it's on that kind of a ball joint kind of thing, because it gives us a little bit of angle. We can angle this up like this and have it on an angle if you want. You can just have it straight. You can change the orientation. I just felt the glue. As I tried to turn it, I felt the glue kind of move on this, so I'm just going to leave that. We're going to let that dry for maybe an hour or so before I do that. But anyway, that's the kit, guys. So that's where I'm going to leave it for today. I've got to run away, and so I want to thank you guys for watching. I want to thank you. Seen some new comments recently. I really appreciate seeing the comments down below, guys. I do try to respond to all of them, as you guys know. I really appreciate the support. Please, if you have not already subscribed, down in the corner there, I'd really appreciate if you subscribe. And hit the like button if you like this stuff. And yeah, again, leave comments down below. You can check out my links down in the description box, my Instagram, my Twitch. You can watch me live and stuff like that on Twitch. Yeah, thanks guys for watching, and we'll see you all in the next one.